In the NFL, a great nickname isn't just a label, it's a legacy. It captures a player's style, personality, and impact on the game in just a few words. Some nicknames are earned through dominant play, while others come from unexpected origins. But the best ones become as legendary as the players themselves. From bone-crushing defenders to electrifying playmakers, these are the nicknames that define football history, and we're kicking things off with one of the most feared defensive backs of all time, Night Train Lane. Few nicknames capture the essence of a player quite like Night Train Lane. Born Richard Lane, this Hall of Fame cornerback left a trail of destruction in his wake during the 1950s and 60s. But surprisingly, his iconic nickname didn't come from his hard-hitting style. It came from a song. As the story goes, Lane's teammate, Tom Fears, saw him listening to Night Train by Jimmy Forrest on repeat and started calling him Night Train. The name stuck, and in a way, it fits his game perfectly. Like a speeding train on the tracks, Lane played with relentless aggression, delivering bone-crushing hits that made wide receivers think twice before coming across the middle of the field. But he wasn't just a bruiser, he was a ball hawk. As a rookie in 1952, Lane set an NFL record with 14 interceptions in a single season, a record that still stands today. Even more impressive, he did it in a 12-game season. Opposing quarterbacks feared him. Receivers dreaded him. When Night Train was lurking in the secondary, you knew a big play or a big hit was coming. His legendary status as one of the NFL's hardest-hitting and most dominant defensive backs remains cemented in history. Sweetness Walter Payton. The nickname Sweetness might make you think of a finesse player, someone who glided across the field without contact. But if you watched Walter Payton play, you knew the name was more of an ironic contrast. He was anything but soft. Standing at 5'10" and 200 pounds, Payton ran with a rare combination of speed, agility, and power. He never ran out of bounds to avoid contact. Instead, he welcomed it, often lowering his shoulder and delivering a hit rather than taking one. His infamous stiff arm was one of the most lethal weapons in football history, and his high-knee running style made him incredibly tough to bring down. So where did the nickname come from? Some say it was because of his smooth running style, while others believe it originated from his charismatic personality off the field. Either way, sweetness became synonymous with greatness. By the time he retired, Payton had amassed 16,726 rushing yards, the most in NFL history at the time. He could do it all: run, catch, block, and even throw touchdowns. His work ethic was legendary, with stories of his punishing hill sprints and grueling workouts still being talked about today. His impact went beyond football. He was known for his kindness, his smile, and his commitment to helping others. Even today, the Walter Payton NFL Man of the Year award is given annually to the player who best exemplifies excellence on and off the field. Sweetness was more than a nickname. It was a legacy. Mean Joe Green. Nicknames can sometimes be misleading, but in the case of Mean Joe Green, it was spot on. Standing at 6'4" and 275 pounds, Joe Green was the heart and soul of the Pittsburgh Steelers' Steel Curtain defense in the 1970s. He wasn't just a dominant defensive tackle, he was a one-man wrecking crew. His combination of size, strength, and agility made him nearly unblockable. Offensive linemen dreaded having to face him, and quarterbacks knew that if they weren't careful, Green would be coming for them. But despite his nickname, Mean Joe wasn't necessarily mean off the field. The nickname actually came from his college team, the North Texas State Mean Green, but it fit his playing style perfectly. His career speaks for itself. Four-time Super Bowl champion, 1974, 75, 78, and 1979. Two-time NFL Defensive Player of the Year in 1972 and 74, and 10-time Pro Bowler. Though he was feared by opponents, fans saw a different side of Green in one of the most famous commercials of all time, a Coca-Cola ad in which he tosses his jersey to a young fan after chugging a Coke. The commercial showed that even Mean Joe had a softer side. On the field, however, he was an absolute nightmare. He set the stone for the Steelers dynasty, leading them to 4 Super Bowls and establishing Pittsburgh as one of the most feared defenses in NFL history. The Bus, Jerome Bettis. Some players run with finesse, others with power. Jerome Bettis ran with destruction. Nicknamed the Bus for his bruising running style, Bettis was a 250-pound wrecking ball at running back. He didn't just run through defenders, he carried them with him, much like a bus plowing through traffic. Bettis' playing style was rare. Most powerbacks don't have longevity, but he managed to rack up over 13,662 rushing yards, ranking him among the all-time greats. His footwork was shockingly nimble for his size, allowing him to make defenders miss just as often as he ran through them. Originally drafted by the Los Angeles Rams, Bettis found his true home in Pittsburgh, where he became a legend. Steelers fans adored him for his toughness, leadership, and ability to deliver in clutch moments. His final game was a storybook ending, winning Super Bowl 40 in his hometown of Detroit, then retiring on top. The Bus wasn't just a nickname, it was a warning. If you were in his way, you were getting run over. Broadway Joe Namath. There have been plenty of flashy quarterbacks in NFL history, but few can compare to Broadway Joe Namath. The nickname suited Namath perfectly. He wasn't just a football star, he was a New York celebrity, a larger-than-life personality who embraced the bright lights and big stage. Playing for the New York Jets, Namath became the face of the franchise. But his defining moment came before Super Bowl III. The Jets were huge underdogs against the Baltimore Colts, but Namath didn't lack confidence. At a press event, he boldly guaranteed that the Jets would win, and then he backed it up. Namath led the Jets to a stunning 16-7 victory, shocking the world and legitimizing the AFL in the process. It was a moment that changed football history, proving that the AFL teams could compete with the more established NFL teams before the leagues officially merged. But Namath wasn't just known for his play, he was known for his style. He rocked fur coats, sunglasses, and a swagger that made him one of the most recognizable athletes of his era. He wasn't afraid of the media, and he embraced his status as a pop culture icon. His stats may not have been record-breaking, but his impact on the game was undeniable. Namath brought showmanship to the NFL, proving that football wasn't just a game, it was entertainment. If you played in New York and wanted to be the biggest star in town, you had to have the confidence to match. And no one had more confidence than Broadway Joe. The Fridge, William Perry. Few nicknames in NFL history are as fitting or as fun as The Fridge. Standing 6'2", weighing over 300 pounds, William Refrigerator Perry was a massive defensive lineman who became a household name in the 1985 Chicago Bears. The nickname originated from his time at Clemson University, where his sheer size and immovability reminded people of a refrigerator, but it was his unique role on offense that cemented his legendary status. During the Bears' dominant 1985 Super Bowl winning season, head coach Mike Ditka started using Perry as a goal line running back. Seeing a 300-plus pound lineman carry the football was unheard of at the time, and it became an instant sensation. Defenders had no chance against the Fridge, barreling toward the end zone. His most famous moment came in Super Bowl 20 when Perry rushed for a touchdown, becoming one of the heaviest players in NFL history to score in a Super Bowl. It was the perfect cherry on top of a legendary season for the Bears, who steamrolled their way to a championship behind one of the greatest defenses ever. While Perry was a solid defensive lineman in his own right, his legacy is forever tied to his nickname, his larger-than-life personality, and his unexpected role as a 300-pound ball carrier. Primetime Deion Sanders. Some players demand the spotlight. Deion Sanders was the spotlight. Nicknamed Primetime for his ability to shine in big moments, Sanders was one of the greatest cornerbacks and most electrifying athletes in NFL history. He didn't just play football, he performed. From his flashy gold chains to his signature high-stepping into the end zone, Sanders embraced the sportsmanship of the game. But he wasn't just talk. He backed it up with unmatched speed, ball skills, and playmaking ability. Opposing quarterbacks feared throwing his way because more often than not, he would make them pay. Sanders' impact went beyond just defense. He was also one of the greatest kick and punt returners ever, capable of turning any return into a highlight reel touchdown. Oh, and if that wasn't enough, he also played Major League Baseball, making him one of the most remarkable dual-sport athletes of all time. Sanders won 2 Super Bowls and was named to the Hall of Fame, but his greatest legacy is how he changed the game. He made football flashy, fun, and marketable. He was more than just an athlete. He was an icon. And when the lights were brightest, That's when primetime always delivered. Beast Mode, Marshawn Lynch. If you had to sum up Marshawn Lynch in 2 words, Beast Mode would be the only choice. The nickname became legendary because of Lynch's relentless, punishing running style. He wasn't the fastest back on the field, but he ran with an intensity that defenders simply couldn't handle. The moment that defined Beast Mode came in the 2010 NFC wildcard game against the Saints. Lynch took a handoff, broke 9 tackles, stiff-armed defenders into the ground, and rumbled 67 yards for one of the greatest touchdowns in NFL history. The Seattle crowd erupted so loudly that the play was literally recorded on the Richter scale, a moment now known as the Beastquake. Beyond his dominance on the field, Lynch's nickname also represents his personality. He was unapologetically himself, whether it was refusing to talk to the media, "I'm just here so I don't get fined," or casually eating Skittles on the sidelines. But when it was time to step onto the field, Beast Mode was unstoppable. Megatron, Calvin Johnson. Some receivers are great. Calvin Johnson was a force of nature. Nicknamed Megatron after the powerful Transformer, Johnson was a physical freak unlike anything the NFL had seen before. At 6'5", 237 pounds, he had the size of a tight end, the speed of a wide receiver, and the ability to jump over defenders like a superhero. Johnson's dominance with the Detroit Lions was nearly unfair. No cornerback could match his size, and even double teams weren't enough to stop him. He broke records, including the NFL single-season receiving yards record, 1,964 yards in 2012, an 86-yard game streak of consecutive 100-yard performances, becoming the fastest player to reach 10,000 receiving yards. Despite playing just 9 seasons, Megatron made a permanent mark on the game. His combination of size, speed, and skill was unstoppable, and his nickname was the perfect tribute to his robotic, otherworldly dominance. The Minister of Defense, Reggie White. In football, defense is often about intimidation. Few players embodied that better than Reggie White, who also happened to be a man of faith. Nicknamed the Minister of Defense, White was not only one of the greatest defensive players of all time, but he was also a devout Christian and an ordained minister. The contrast between his faith and his violent dominance on the field made the nickname legendary. White was a 2-time NFL Defensive Player of the Year, an 8-time first-team All-Pro, and a Super Bowl champion. He finished his career with 198 sacks, making him one of the most feared pass rushers in league history. His signature move was the hump move, where he would toss offensive linemen aside as if they were children. Despite being one of the most feared men on the field, he was deeply respected for his character and leadership off it. White played for the Eagles, Packers, and Panthers, and his impact was felt far beyond the game. His presence as both a dominant force in football and a deeply religious man made his nickname one of the most fitting and respected in NFL history. Now, these players weren't just dominant, they were larger than life. Their nicknames weren't just catchy, they represented their legendary status in football history. From Megatron overpowering defenses to Beast Mode breaking tackles, from the fridge rolling into the end zone to primetime electrifying the crowd, each of these names tells a story of greatness, impact, and unforgettable moments. Which of these nicknames is your favorite, or do you have another legendary nickname you think deserves recognition? Let us know in the comments below, and remember to give this video a thumbs up if you enjoyed it. Also hit the subscribe button so you never miss out on a future video. Peace out!